A fancy Manhattan restaurant. Crystal lights shimmer above polished tables. From the corner, a mocking voice cuts through the laughter. "Wait, is that Malik Johnson?" Chad smirks, glass in hand. "The kid who used to eat free lunch sandwiches?" The table bursts into laughter. They don't realize the black man in that tailored Navy suit isn't a waiter. He's the man who owns half this block. If this already made your blood boil, hit like and subscribe right now, because stories like this are still happening, and the world needs to hear them. Malik pauses near their table, calm, collected. The same faces that once made high school hell stare back with cheap smiles and hidden arrogance. Jessica tilts her head, feigning surprise. "Oh my God, Malik, you actually got invited here." Chad chuckles. "Man, I didn't even recognize you without your cafeteria tray." The laughter spreads like poison. Malik just smiles, the kind of smile that hides a decade of fire behind it. He adjusts his cufflinks, solid gold, initials engraved, and replies evenly, "Good to see you all. Didn't expect to find you still sitting in the same spot." Their laughter falters. His voice carries weight now, money, power, and calm revenge. The laughter fades behind him, but Malik's mind drifts back to those high school hallways that smelled of bleach and cheap cologne. He remembers the whispers, charity case, quota kid. He's only here for diversity points. Every word carved into him deeper than any bruise. At lunch, he'd sit alone with a peanut butter sandwich, wrapped in the same paper bag for weeks. One day, Chad had snatched it and shouted across the cafeteria, "Yo, Malik, need us to chip in for real food?" The room had exploded with laughter. Even the teachers looked away. That night, Malik's mother came home from a double shift. Hands cracked from cleaning offices she'd never be allowed to sit in. She placed her last 10 on the table for his school trip. He pushed it back. "I'll earn my way, Ma." From that moment, the boy of the world mock began building the man who would own it. Every insult became a lesson, every slur a spark. While they slept in luxury, he studied real estate contracts from library books, learning how power moves quietly. The clinking of glasses and fake laughter fills a restaurant. Jessica waves Malik over like she's doing him a favor. "Come on, sit with us for old time's sake." He hesitates, then walks over, knowing exactly what he's walking into. "Man, look at you," says Ryan, his grin tight. "You really cleaned up. What's the occasion? Got promoted or something?" Malik sits down, calm as ever. "Something like that." Blake leans forward, smirking. "Let me guess, valet supervisor?" The table erupts. They laugh the same way they used to. Loud, cruel, thoughtless. Malik simply studies them. He notices the empty pride behind their expensive watches and borrowed confidence. They're still the same people who once thought mocking a black student was harmless fun. Jessica flips her hair and adds, "You always have potential, Malik. Glad you're doing okay." Her voice drips with the same fake sweetness that used to make him feel small. He nods politely, refusing to give them the satisfaction of anger. Then his business partner, Mr. Chun, enters the restaurant. "Mr. Johnson, your private table is ready," he says with respect that makes the others blink. Chad frowns. "Mr. Johnson? Since when did you get a title? If this happened right in front of you, what would you do? Tell me in the comments. I read every one. And if you want justice as much as I do, hit subscribe." Chad chuckles nervously, glancing at his friends. "Man, you always were good at jokes. So what are you really doing now?" Before Malik can answer, Mr. Chin leans in again. "Sir, the Vanderbilt acquisition papers came through. We'll finalize the $50 million transfer tomorrow morning." The table goes dead silent. Jessica's hand freezes around her wine glass. "Wait, Vanderbilt," she stammers. "Our firm rents the top floor of that building." Malik meets her eyes, calm, steady. "Then I suppose you'll be sending me the check next month." Ryan laughs awkwardly, trying to keep his cool. "You're saying you own that building?" Malik shrugs. "Among others." The weight of those two words hits harder than any speech could. Their laughter dies completely now. Jessica forces a smile. "That's impressive. You must be doing really well for yourself." Malik leans back. Let's just say hard work pays, especially when people underestimate you. Silence. The same table that once mocked him now avoids his eyes. Chad forces a laugh, desperate to break the silence. Hey, man, we're proud of you. Really, we always knew you'd do decent. Malik just raises an eyebrow. Decent. Jessica leans in, pretending confidence. You know, maybe you could help us now. My husband's company might need a new office space. Ryan adds quickly. Yeah, and my firm's been looking for investment partners. We could collaborate. The word sounds forced, like they're choking on pride. Malik studies them one by one. The same people who once mocked his accent, his clothes, his skin tone, now looking for favors. You used to call me the charity kid, he says quietly. Seems the charity table's turned. Chad laughs nervously, cheeks flushing red. Come on, bro, we were kids. It was just jokes. Jokes, Malik repeats, voice steady. Some jokes cost people years. Mr. Chin returns with a polite nod. Mr. Johnson, the driver's ready. Jessica's face falls. You have a driver? Of course, Malik replies softly. Time's too valuable to waste, especially on people who once told me I'd never make out of Harlem. Malik takes his private seat by the window as the city lights shimmer outside. Mr. Chin sits across from him, lowering his voice. You handle that well. I would have walked out the moment they opened their mouths. Malik exhales slowly. I almost did. Chin nods. You didn't need to prove anything. They already lost. Malik stares at his reflection in the glass. Funny thing about success, it doesn't erase the sound of their laughter. You just learn to live above it. Chin studies him. You still wanted them to see you. Malik doesn't deny it. All those years, I told myself I didn't care. But deep down, I wanted them to finally respect what they once mocked. Chin smiles faintly. Respect from small people isn't worth chasing. They can't see past their own privilege. Malik nods. True, but sometimes showing them what survival looks like feels like justice. The waiter brings their meal, 2 plates of quiet victory. Outside, the same city that once ignored him now glows with his name on its deeds and documents. As Malik stands to leave, a voice trembles behind him. Malik, wait. Jessica rushes over, eyes glossy. I'm sorry. For high school for tonight. We were awful to you. He turns calm but distant. You were doing what the world taught you, to look down on people who look like me. She wipes a tear. You don't have to forgive us, but please, no, I mean it. Malik nods slowly. Forgiveness isn't for you, Jessica. It's for me. I forgave you years ago, right after I stopped needing your approval. He steps outside into the cool Manhattan night, where his black luxury car waits at the curb. As the door closes, he glances once at the glowing restaurant behind him, a cage he no longer lives in. If you believe this should never happen again, share this now. And to my USA, UK, and Canadian viewers, your voice is power. Use it. The engine hums quietly as Malik drives away, free, powerful, and finally at peace with the past that tried to define him.